Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. It is Into the Endless Metaverse, and we've got Seascape with us. Kerrel, how are you doing? It's been a long time since we last talked.
It's been quite a while, but I couldn't be free before. We've been very, very busy, a lot of things to do. It's going fairly well for us. Like we've done quite a bit, getting ready for even more.
Yeah, I've been watching the website get updated with many, many new games, at least new to me. But yeah, one of the things I've been harping about in the NFT game industry, as now it's its own industry within NFTs, is that most of these games aren't released yet. But it seems you guys already have like a bunch.
Yeah, basically we released our first game back in February, 1 week after the IDO. We wanted to show like we are a product-based team. We're not one of the, as you said, a lot of games are generally not published yet. They run on what we call vaporware. They're just like on pure hype. They do a lot of pre-marketing and they put things and they generally sometimes don't have them. That is normal to have. Games take a lot of time of development and people don't understand how much it takes to do a game. It's not as simple as one might think. Our games were a bit more simple at first. It was more kind of like testing the ecosystem, the economies of it. So we had a number of mini games. We had full releases, fifth one coming probably this month. But now we're getting a much bigger game coming out. So we just finished our deal for what we call Moonscape, which is on the moon, obviously from the name. It's a city-based resource harvesting, building construction. You fight aliens, you can loot other players. It's pretty fun to play. It's an actual fun game, on the contrary of what we've seen from NFT games so far, which are fairly card-based, I want to say. Ours is just fun. You could play even without any crypto wallets or any assets, and it's soon to be released. We already have betas internally. I have played the game. It's going to come very, very early in 2022. We've already shown some gameplay for some players, and there'll be a closed beta also in around, we hope, January.
So you mentioned it not needing NFTs. Does that mean there's a big free-to-play aspect?
Yeah, so there's not only a big free-to-play aspect, there's a big general non-crypto needed aspect. Like, we feel that a lot of games are they're too complicated. They're trying to use NFTs and blockchain all over the place, but then that makes it very complicated for newcomers to come on board. With Moonscape, you don't have that aspect. You could literally play without a wallet if you want, but you are highly incentivized to use the wallet to come into the DeFi and into the NFT. And we think that's how games should go going forward. Is like, you don't need that to come in, but it's really, really good for yourself. So play, but now that you spend this, I hope, don't take too long, but normally dozens, hundreds of hours to playing these fun games. Yeah. Why not up some money while doing so? Why not get something? The real play to earn. The games before, play to earn has become one of the symbols of the crypto blockchain gaming industry, but I feel it's still not play to earn, if you know what I mean. You don't play.
Yeah. It's grind to earn. And a lot of MMORPGs that you don't even make money from playing are kind of grindy these days.
It's either grindy or the opposite. It's still pay. Like either you have a lot of money and you put in, that's it, or it's just setting mental. It's just not. It's not play. It's not fun. It takes either too long, or I don't know. It's you don't play on other side for me.
Yeah, it's like all those people who still play World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I actually don't know anyone who still plays that game, but I would be surprised if I met someone who does.
I think they still have millions, right? I think they still have millions of players.
Oh,
they probably do, but millions, you never hear about them.
They have millions of addicts.
Yeah. It's like RuneScape. RuneScape still has apparently thousands of players, but God knows who actually plays that game anymore. But so the scenario you just mentioned, where players don't have to invest any money or crypto to get into the game, that might be one of the first examples that I've seen in the industry where a problem that we felt was that a lot of games had this massive barrier to entry, where to get into the game you'd have to spend money or spend massive amounts of money, like Axie, or games where you have to buy their NFTs to get into the game. So that's pretty cool. I think that is actually going to make a big deal. It's going to make like a big change and a big deal within the industry as well.
I mean, if you want me to elaborate on that, it's what I said is just one of the three things that makes the barrier of entry much lower. Four actually. One is we are Moonbeam exclusive game, so a very low fee cost compared to ETH. Because I mean, I just wanted to do a simple transaction like a couple of days ago, and that was what, $30 or something. I was like, nope. I'm not doing that. But the in-game thing is, one, you don't need crypto wallets or assets to start playing. You don't even need a wallet. You can just start playing. Two, if you want to enter, you actually don't need to spend, as you said, like hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Actually, sometimes like some people said at one point $2,000 worth of assets or something just for the NFTs. No, here you could start with as little as $1. It's DeFi, so you just literally you start putting some of the tokens in and you could start earning. Obviously not a lot, there's some proportionality to it, but you could start with as little as $1 and even $0. The $0 per route is we have NFTs that come from you playing. We have cities and rover NFTs. So you could just literally play, and if you grind if you want, but normally we hope it's more fun than grinding. You get your cities up, you get your rovers upgraded, you mint those into NFTs and sell them on the marketplace. That's your initial capital.
There you go.
So in Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, we know there's a huge amount of players there who want to participate into games, but sometimes it's a bit restrictive for some of them. Same for in Europe, in Turkey, in the US, there's just players you don't want to have to spend $2,000 to play a game. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, no, I mean, like for us, when I buy a game already, and they're telling me $60 or something. I'm like, another play to earn. Yeah, that's amazing. Come earn money. Just spend $2,000 first.
That's a stab to the heart. No thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. A lot of these NFT games have extremely high barriers to entry, and I'm like, do you actually want players or do you just want investors? Because I think when the barrier to entry is too high, you just get investors, and those people probably aren't even going to play your game. That would be my guess, anyways.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree with you. Is that you generally get investors who want to make money. They don't really want they're in for the money, they're not in for the fun, they're not in for changing the way traditional gaming is heading towards. At least that's also what we think at Seascape. We want the real play to earn experience.
But that's also how I feel about the industry in general. Like in most NFT-based games, it just seems like the community they're not real players, they're investors. I'm not trying to insult anybody who's a real player. Don't take it personally. But the entire interaction with the community, it doesn't feel like a gamer community. So they do tend to to attract more investor-ish kind of people than actual players. In my opinion, this is not based on fact or data. This is just my analysis.
I would say,
is there data?
Yes, there is somewhat data. There's possibility to get some data, but
are you scared? Are you scared to find out?
I'm scared to find out. No, I'm just gonna say, like, who's gonna play your game? Basically, how are you gonna target these people? Is they need to be crypto. That's the way right now those crypto games abilities. They need to be crypto, so you need to find gamers within crypto. It's not so it's kind of like in a niche of a niche. So like, it's very hard. And then these gamers, honestly, if you play, I'm a gamer, I'm a big gamer, and I still play, like I played Cyberpunk 2077. I try to play that these days. I know there's a whole thing about it not being ready. You shouldn't play it because people, I mean, the whole controversy about the state of development. It's a good game. I still like.
Yeah. I played from beginning to end twice now. So
twice? Oh wow! Which one did you take right now? I didn't know so far.
Well, I started with the Nomad, and then you can get to the ending quite early if you just rush to it, which because they make it seem like there's a time limit on you, and there actually isn't. So that's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. But it kind of ruins the game, because then you stop looking at things and doing the fun stuff, and you start going straight towards the next
I don't want
quest
to die.
to get
I
to
don't
the
want to
end.
die.
Yeah, but it turns out no, there's no real time limit. You can do whatever you want, and it's fine. And the longer you take, the better the endings you can get. So
actually, one question I wanted to ask you, David, is how do you feel about time in games, like where you actually have, I think I saw that in a couple of games sometimes, where, because sometimes you have this quest that says like, okay, come pick me up in the evening. Yeah, whichever evening you want, but there has to be in the evening, but it's whichever evening you want, and that kind of breaks the immersion for me a bit.
yeah, I'd rather have like a specific time. Like if it is like pick me up at this time, I want a specific time. And then if I'm late, then something else happens, or it goes on. He's like, I went without you, you piece of crap.
Yeah, something like that. Or it'd be even more interesting if it's not like I went without you and the quest is done. It's like I'm going without you and you need to try to find him, and then you could, catch him en route or something.
Yeah. No, he should go try to do it by himself. And then obviously there's a point where he'll probably die if you don't catch up. And then you just find his body, and the quest is over, I suppose. Or maybe you find something on his body and you have to find the people who did it to him. Like there's all sorts of ways to do it. But the problem with that is just that it becomes this branching sort of thing, and it can quickly get out of control. But if you do procedural quests that account for that sort of stuff, it's possible.
Yeah. Also, I wouldn't put that everywhere, just in a couple of places.
Oh, for sure.
Where it makes sense. I found the principle interesting, like procedural generated entire like AI. Because for me, the best game would be one where you can choose what happens, where you could become a thief, like Dishonored style, where you try to get into like rich mansions and steal, or where you could become a merchant or a general or a king, and and whether the world would react but not be centered around you. I don't like this thing. It's like whenever you play a game, you're the hero, you are the savior or the villain, or I don't care. No.
It doesn't make sense most of the time, yeah. It's like World of Warcraft. It started off pretty good, where you weren't like the center of everything. You're just like a peon or whatever, working your way up through the ranks. But then after you hit 50, like now you're going on these epic raids. And I think now the problem with WoW is that they've got intergalactic cosmic beings everywhere, and like you're killing them over and over again. And I just watched a thing on what the next part of the series is. Like, we're going to the afterlife, and now we're going to kill gods there. It's like, what's left? They're going to have to reset the whole universe.
They did. I don't like WoW because I'm a big fan of Warcraft 3, and they killed so many people in WoW then that they can't be. Well, I don't know what Warcraft 4 is going to be like, or even if there will be one, because
there won't be.
Then the cash cow now is WoW. But I don't like MMOs in general, because now you just say you just kill intergalactic beings. Yeah. Is there any change in the world at all? No, that guy is still there. There's you do, no matter what you do in MMOs, it doesn't affect anything. Yeah. So I like sandbox MMO, but then there's the other problem is that you need to be there, or they're gonna destroy your base or something.
Yeah.
No, but sandbox MMOs are like oversold, to be honest. They're made to sound much better than they actually are, and like I don't know, like life is futile. Or where you actually get into that game and it's just a bunch of grinding till the end of time. That's it. And like you just hope that you grind long enough for the player base to actually last. So I want to ask about Seascape, because it's a bit confusing for us. So like Seascape is what compared to all your other products?
So Seascape is part of an ecosystem with Scape Store, CDEX, and Lighthouse. The entire thing is blockchain gaming with play-to-earn philosophy, but kind of like an entire ecosystem. We're not a game; we're a platform for games as Seascape. Lighthouse is a gaming-focused launchpad. We just finished our first IDO. The CDEX is a DEX where you could get the Enter with the DeFi aspect, where all the tokens and you could swap all the tokens from our games or some of our partners, where you could get some LPs to be participating to some of the other games like Moonscape, Profit Circus, and so on. And the Scape Store is the marketplace you could use that will show you the proper data and filters that you need for your NFTs that are part of our games. Because I don't know how you feel, but a lot of NFT marketplaces right now do not do utility-based NFTs justice. It's like you can't really, you see all this NFT and you have no idea what's different, but actually they have the same image, but there's huge differences between the metadata of these two, and this is not portrayed properly in a lot of marketplaces.
It's almost like they're hiding the information.
Yeah.
So why does that matter? Metadata is in what? Like in simple terms?
Metadata. So for us, we have, for example, power. We have generation quality, and that gives you power. Power is actually then could be transformed into actual value. So you would get, the more power you get, the more profit you could earn from a specific game with that NFT. So if you see two of the same images, but they are different qualities and generation, well, qualities you would show, but if they're different generations, they would have vastly different powers. And obviously the more power, you want the one with the more power. But if you can't see that, then you don't really understand. Sometimes you see huge differences in price and you don't understand why. So the seller knows why, because he knows that this is the generation 0, this one is generation 2, they have different power. But then as the buyer, I'm like, okay, I see two of the same, I'm going to buy the one, the cheapest one.
Do you think that NFT games are all inherently pay to win?
Not necessarily, because
dude, that's a tough one.
That's a tough line. I'm gonna say not pay to win, it's pay and play. First of all, that's what we're trying to foster, is that you actually need to do something. So that means even if you have more money, it's pay more gives you maybe some more money. Actually, for Moonscape, it doesn't give you more advantages in the game, it just gives you more money, more DeFi stuff. So first of all, it's not to win, it's to earn. It's different. But for us, you actually need to play. It's pay and play to earn, not to win. Because for us also, there's no winning in the sense that even if you attack other people, you destroy the cities, for them the cities is fine. So they're not gonna, because a lot of other games, sometimes you come and you destroy them and they really but for us it's a bit more sensible when it comes to then adding real values to some of this stuff. People with more money could get some advantages, but nothing that could be overtaken by just playing. And also in our aspect, you don't need to pay to play compared to a lot of the other. But right now in the current industry, that is something that has been happening a lot, is that you do need to pay a lot. So it's not just pay, it's like pay a lot. So then it goes back to what Kay said before, the investors versus players kind of audiences that a lot of projects get.
Well, a lot of them are pay a lot to not play because the game's not even out yet. Why are people paying so much for something that isn't there?
Oh, I'm gonna say even after it's there, a lot of them don't feel like game. I mean, there's different types of game. There's casual game. I'm not gonna say anything about this. Casual games on the phone, something simple, etc. But it just feels that the amount of money invested and put in does not correlate to the quality and enjoyment of the game.
Exactly. So I have a proposal. Why don't I get one of the starting up game companies that I know to come over to Seascape and do their game there to get further funding. Now they have VC already, but they're looking for another round. Do you think that creating a token for their game and trying to incorporate NFTs into like a traditional AAA style game would be a feasible way to get funding?
So first, is it feasible? Yes, it's what a lot of people have been doing, and obviously something we can replicate. But for us, it needs to make sense. We're not trying to make money on top of players by having just economics wherever you can. It needs to be something that integrally provides something for every step of the way. It needs to be interesting gameplay wise. It needs to bring value to the players. We want if you're just talking about getting more money, then you're looking at like your company making money, which is then just go for the pay to win solution that's sadly rampant within the traditional markets. We want you to be able to provide value to the players. We want you to be able to provide value to the developers, to us, to just in general the play-to-earn economies. They need to be a good studio with, you don't just come on board, say, have a pitch deck, and hey, do you want me in? We do a little bit more research than that. But if they're a good studio, good credentials, they have a game already released, they have an interesting play to earn aspects. It's either play to earn or NFTs, or there's something interesting to play with. Yes, we are looking for more. We're already talking to a lot, but we are looking for more studios. We want to expand the blockchain gaming, well, to become one of the new normal, if I could say it like that. AAA games obviously are more than welcome. That's what we're looking for at the end of the day. From casual all the way to AAA is all up for grabs. Personally, as a big gamer, I prefer AAA. If you have Dragons and Magic, that's even better. But
we were talking about Warhammer earlier. So the game that makes the most sense to me for Warhammer is like they already have a point buy system for putting armies on a map. Make that game. Do it real time. People buy the NFTs of the Warhammer units and they put together their, like, it's so obvious to me. I don't know. I would almost go pitch that at to Warhammer themselves. Games Workshop, sorry, that's it. Games Workshop. I would go pitch that to Games Workshop themselves and see if I could just, they'll probably give me the license right away. They'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. As long as you can do the game justice.
Yeah.
They're throwing their license at frickin' mobile games. I don't think they care anymore.
No, I think so. For mobile games, it's more complicated than that. I don't know if you take a look at so again, pay to win has become the new standards, and at the end of the day, right now, what we're trying to do with this blockchain game is to try to change the way current gaming industry is going for, because shareholders have become the new deciders rather than creatives. So you said they're throwing their money on mobile game. Why? The first game, I think, the first game to earn over $1 billion revenue was a mobile game. It was Dragons and Puzzles and Dragons, something with dragons.
Puzzles and Dragons, yeah.
Puzzles and Dragons, yeah. And after that, right now, to this day, I think there's just like one or two games who are not mobile, who earned over like a 1 billion, and there's like dozens of games all mobile who earn that much. So actually, mobile games have become extremely popular for the revenue they can generate. And development-wise, I'm sorry, but I worked generally in mobile gaming and others, and I know that there's huge differences in the way those are.
Yeah, well, that's why I work with Mobile Game Doctor. We do game audits and stuff for mobile games to try and get them into that money tier, which the threshold is interesting because you're either a game that makes significant amounts of money or none at all. There's very little difference.
So it kind of sounds like Seascape is trying to be a blockchain version of Steam.
If you want, that would be both a correct and incorrect way of looking at it. Will be a store, will be Kickstarter, Steam, I don't want to say Amazon, but yeah, we're trying to promote new games coming out, centralize them within a platform that everybody could enjoy, later down even on several devices, multilingual. We'll have also other features, which, with chats, with groups of players being able to play together across several games, etc. We have a lot of very exciting things in the works. We don't talk about them because we are product-focused team rather than a vaporware-focused team. But yeah, so Steam in that aspect, but then we also Kickstarter with the Lighthouse IDO, but that is actually we're doing that in collaboration with C-Star. It's C-Star who's taking the reign for that one. But then we obviously have a lot of things we want to push forward. We have the Scape store, so it's going to be a marketplace. It's kind of like, imagine if you could trade your achievements on Steam, I want to say, maybe, but then also buy some. But then this achievement would actually do something. You could buy some cards.
The cards, yeah. And then the cards can turn into like icons and stuff that you can use in chat.
Yeah, but for us, it's like this. These icons could do something. Imagine if like these icons could do something within the game.
Yeah, and they could all be NFTs.
Yeah, it could all be NFTs.
I have to get this off my chest. So from the user standpoint, will people be able to make accounts and comment on games and comment on each other's profiles and stuff? Are we going to see that kind of interactability?
later we're gonna add social things. Right now we're focusing more on like how much can we offer in terms of blockchain, because at the end of the day we're blockchain based gaming, so we want to make sure that we have good repos, libraries of smart contracts, we have chains and provide a solid ecosystem. The focus is on that right now. Later down the line there is already works being done for chats and groups. Afterwards there's going to be more and more, we're going to add more devices, we're going to add more social aspects, we're going to have things for referral, things for reviews, feedbacks, we're going to have the works. But that's a long process. That's a very, very long process. A lot of things, that needs to be done. And we're not like, I don't know how many people Steam has on them, but I know they're making a lot of money for not doing that much, honestly, but we're not that many yet. We still, it's getting very well. People really like the games that we're doing, but that's because we focus on what we believe. We all gaming professionals who really want to change the industry. People in Seascape, like a lot of them work from like 9 to 12 or even more for some of them. And it just still takes, some time to get these things. But yeah, we're going to have the whole social aspect covered too.
So basically, I'm just trying to think, if somebody leaves, one thing, you either love it or hate it about gaming, toxic community. So, if I completely own somebody in a game and he gets mad and comes up to me and my comments get wrecked, or even worse, does that stay forever on the blockchain, or can that disappear?
The chat, I don't think the chat will, so it's going to be like a general chat for friends, for groups. You're not going to have, we'll see, but I don't think you could publicly comment on a specific players and have that on the blockchain. First of all, I don't think it's going to be on the blockchain. That there's no, as I said earlier to David, it's like, why are you putting it on the blockchain? It needs to add value. We are looking and exploring into new ways to add value. We don't want to be stuck, but don't just add blockchain for the sake of adding blockchain and getting hype and then getting money. That's not what we're looking for.
To be preserved.
Some insults are very creative. They could add value.
Well, if they want to go that far, then what they could do is take a screenshot and then mint it as an NFT themselves somewhere else. But I don't feel that adding, blockchain to your chats for public reviews is necessarily there. Also, so some other people are focusing on social aspects. Like I know that there is actually some blockchain Twitter, there's some blockchain Instagram, stuff like that. So they would be, they might want to do that. But again, our focus, it's everything would be good, but as a company, you have limited resources. You need to know what is the best thing for your audiences, for the people who want to use you. For us, as players, that's what we want. And what they want is games. It's better games where you do play to earn, not insult other people and then get that put on whatever blockchain.
Yeah. Okay, no, I just had to get that off my chest. I've been wondering forever. I
was an interesting feature, but like for add-ons, for game related things. Also, as you said, it's toxic. We're pretty positive. We're pretty, happy go. I don't want to say happy-go-lucky, but we're pretty happy people, excited, optimistic. Otherwise, why would you want to join blockchain if you're not optimistic? Blockchain at the beginning was a dream. Like Bitcoin, blockchain is a dream. It's interesting usages that we're trying to explore, but it's still not there yet. We in a very, I don't want to say maybe avant-garde, but something that is still mostly intangible for a lot of people. A lot of people are starting to understand more and more, and we inside we're very excited about a lot of opportunities, but those are still opportunities. They're not there yet. So you need to be intrinsically optimistic, I think
internally people are starting to understand, but I think externally the majority have no freaking clue. And on a daily basis, I'm explaining NFTs to people now, and I think I have to just make a video about it. But the one thing that's been bothering me, and I'm curious if you see this too, there is a lot of fly-by-night NFT gaming companies that are just coming in, promising the world, and then delivering almost nothing, or just disappearing with money.
Just nothing.
Do you see this as a bubble that needs to burst, or will burst, or is it just a few errant players, or what's going on?
I'm seeing this as a widening of the communities being needed. For example, we just released our own, I said Moonscape, we finished the IDO. If you go on Telegram right now and you type search global Moonscape, there's 10 official groups. Obviously not the case. Scams are still sadly very rampant and people need to be very careful, but you are going to start learning about who are the real players, who are the real people, how long have they been there, what have they been doing. You need to do your research. I know a lot of people are into anon teams and I do understand why with the blockchain aspect and all, but it's with an anon team, I want to say you won't need to be extra cautious, because you said a lot of people just come in, promise the world, do very little, or even copy paste others, or even nothing, and then get out. You want to look at projects that have been there for a long time, with team members that have a good reputation, have worked for good projects, and or who delivers fast. That's what we did with Seascape. While we've all been in the industry for a very long time, we were not very famous figures, so we just decided we focus on product, we deliver. We've delivered 4 games. Now we have different types of products with the Dexes, Marketplace, Lighthouse, in general, these games on the platform in just a couple of months. And now people are really starting to go on board and be like, whenever someone comes in and say, hey, don't listen to them, this is a scam, buy this, obviously scam shield, but other people within a community just point them out, like, what are you talking about? These people have been releasing a crazy amount of stuff. Where would be the point for them to run out? When basically a scam is only a scam because they're not doing things after, but after they have done something, then if it's profitable, it'd be better for them to just do it and make money in this rather than, we've done all this work, now let's get out. No, that makes no sense. So scams really look into projects that deliver, that do something, that have good team members. Even there, sometimes you still sometimes get disappointed. Teams that apparently were very good sometimes just don't work out. Sometimes there's issues with management, with the market, with technologies not being there yet or something. But
that's kind of standard to the game industry, I suppose. Even the most aspirational game studios can fall apart just because of conflicts of interest or clashes between different disciplines and things like that. So to add on top of that, though, this whole, oh wow, we got, I think a lot of these cases, I'm seeing these companies, they're like, oh wow, we got like 5 million in funding now because people bought up our token. What do we do? And I've got like 6 different companies that I'm in talks with about this sort of thing, and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So they're reaching out to me for my experience. Yeah, and that's scary for me.
That's very scary also for us. Is basically we also worked in the crypto industry, and do you honestly feel that the people working in crypto are as professional as the ones you find in the traditional sectors?
No, and they have incredibly unrealistic expectations.
And they have so much money and they throw it all over the place, which makes my job very hard, because then other people, agencies, influencers, whatnot, they say like, I want that much, and you're just like, that's a crazy price for what you're doing, and other people give it to me, and you're like, okay, yeah,
that's nice, but
yeah, it's nice, but that's not really, But then you need to go in crypto still, because the barrier of entry is still there. So the traditional gaming influencers, agency, or ways you can't do that, and the other ones are just like, are you kidding me? No, we're not gonna do that. So it makes it a bit harder for marketing, because for us, again, product focus mean we're putting most of our resources over there. So for marketing, we're not spending millions on vaporware stuff, basically.
Right. You're the gatekeeper to prevent the fly-by-nights.
I mean, we hope to at the end of the day become like a reputable part of the ecosystem. We're like, oh wow, you're on Seascape, that means you're trustworthy. That means that's why when you asked me before, like, could we come a night house? I mean, yes, we are welcoming studios, etc. But it's not because you say, hey, I'm a studio, that you're gonna come on. We're gonna do proper checks, balances. But yes, 100% we want new games, interesting ones. AAA, obviously, very welcome. I would love to play good games. And we even have some in development with Blocklords 3D.
Well, I have a pitch for you, but I have to talk to the other principals involved.
Welcome. More than welcome to propose. I'd love to work with you.
On that note, I hope that's the start of a beautiful new friendship, relationship, crypto.
And that is how. And this is how, guys, in 2021 and December started the best blockchain game ever that revolutionized the entire industry. Just by drinking, hey, by the way, I have a pitch. Okay, sure, let's do it. You see the level of professionalism in crypto, guys.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again, but a drunk stream.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kerrel.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. It was amazing talking to Seascape, and see you again.